Any strategy which requires more than 17 slides has lost clarity. If you can't make a point in an attention span of 45 seconds in an elevator speech, you meet your CEO in an elevator, you got 45 seconds time zone, and if you can't communicate a strategy, you're wasting your time. I follow the rules and I learn the rules like professional, but I break it like a hustler. Situational leadership is everything. If the critical task is so critical that there is no room for failure, and if I knew the task, and it's a survival issue, I would do it myself. Because if I do that right, then we all survive.
Hello and welcome to Season 2 of Ripple by IHRM. I hope you have had the opportunity to look at Season 1. We had wonderful conversations, and this season is going to be bigger and better. So be on the lookout. Follow us on our social media platforms at IHRM Kenya, and you will not regret this. Pull your friends, pull your colleagues, and share these wonderful learning experiences with us. Today, we are delighted to have Bhavesh Chandaria, a wonderful gentleman who will share with us his experiences in HR, moving from everyday HR practice to leading business, not just in Kenya, in Tanzania, and the world. So thank you for making time to be with us, Bhavesh.
Thank you so much. It's so awesome to be with our HR fraternity, and well done, Irene. It was S1, and let's move and roll to S2.
Your first episode in S2.
Yes.
So we are delighted to have you with us, and we hope you will set the pace for the other guests in Season 2.
I definitely will try.
Yeah. So a quick introduction. You are not new to me, but for our viewers, who is Bhavesh Chandaria? How did you end up in HR? And some of the latest experiences, especially in 2026.
Oh, thank you so much. So I'm 52 years young. I've lost my way into HR, being a financial major, sold after finance major in MBA, where I took, of course, HR lessons.
Yeah.
I sold wine in UK, and then I stumbled upon academia. I was a dean of a B school, and that's where I fell in love with HR. And then I came to Kenya from India in HR with Bitco in 2004. Mm-hmm. And training HR capability talent is something that I love to do.
Yeah.
And people is the bottom line of everything. Purpose and people. And the third thing what I coin is pursuit. Mm-hmm. So if we put all this together, is this beautiful world which IHRM caters for.
All right.
Of lately, in the year 2019, I was lucky enough to get into CEO roles. Mm-hmm. For Rwanda. And then in 21 onwards, I was CEO for Ethiopian Steel PLC. These are sister concerns of Mabati Rolling Mill, Safal Group, Africa.
Yeah.
I also am a crusader for youth of Africa. The arrested development of Africa pains me.
Yeah.
And with the models that I know, I can see that you tweak this or you tweak that or you trigger this, then it probably will roll and will make a difference.
Yeah.
So long story short, I'm here. I love Africa. I do not like arrested development. I like to unlock those constraints, and I try to do that.
Okay.
Thank you for having me, by the way.
I like that you said you lost your way into HR. Expound a bit on that, because most of HR professionals I've interacted with also lost their way into HR, if I can borrow your language. They just found themselves there and fell in love.
I lost my way to HR, and I found my karma. I found my pursuit. I found my calling.
Yeah.
So, like I told you, people, pursuit, purpose. So I majored in finance. I also took HR papers, but that year in India in 1997, the rule changed that you can take only one because the exams were put in the same time zones.
Yeah.
So you couldn't do two,
Yeah.
the MBA. So I opted for finance because that gives better money. Uh,
Yeah.
and then guess what? Having passed, I did sales
Yeah.
because I got chance to go to UK. So through academia, when I went to academia, I became a dean of a B school in a very early age. I taught 11 subjects: finance, organizational behavior, HR, OD. And then I got a job in Bidco, Kenya in HR and training. So kind of found my, lost
way
my
into
way
it.
and found my purpose.
All right, that's great. How was the transition from India to Kenya in terms of the workspace?
In fact, I rate Kenyan good organizations like Bidco, Safal Group at par or even better than many of the Indian organizations in their managerial practice, in their pursuits, in their purpose.
Yeah.
I learned a lot. In fact, I was a running around walking theorist when I came being a MBA dean. And what Bidco humbled me was, hey, listen, put your theory into practice,
Yeah.
and then you have credibility. What do you bring on table?
Yeah.
So I was humbled. And then, of course, we see that people value you if you bring something on table,
Yeah. True.
and not theory. And so I rate that transition very humbling to very leveling. When the first 360-degree feedback I initiated, and the feedback that I got was not so great.
Okay.
So transition was eye-opening.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. We will get into the feedback element because it's critical for a leader. But let's start with what you said: people, pursuit, people, purpose, and pursuit. For leadership, how do you move from just managing people to actually being impactful for both the business and the people?
I think leadership is overrated.
Yeah. It's overrated?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody wants to become a leader. Be a manager first. The only purpose you exist is do what is supposed to be done.
Yeah.
And in pursuit of glamorized, mollycoddling words of leadership and all that, for the purpose, it's people and purpose. The purpose is forgotten.
Lost.
It's lost.
Yeah.
So you can survive and you have a seat on the table only if you do things and you deliver. You deliver better than expectations. You deliver at lower cost and on time and on specs. OTIF, on time in full. Transformational leadership is required in not more than 20% of occasions.
Yeah.
But management and getting things done, execution, what I call, is required even in the 100% of the value chain.
That's the business.
Yeah, that's
getting
the business.
things done.
Yeah, no, anywhere. You
Yeah.
got to deliver first. So you said that how do you manage people and how do you manage business? So what I'm saying, let's have the facts clear. Please bring on table what you're supposed to do. And the best leadership, leadership without delivering is fluff, is slop. So please deliver on it. That means execution and management. The second aspect is task management, which is of course what I said. The second aspect is people management, and then lead. Lead, if you jumble the letters, becomes deal. Deal starts with do. That I already told about. Then how do you deal with people in a way that you want them to become more?
Yeah. You have to inspire them.
You have to inspire them, and you need to make them want to do more, create that environment, and that, I believe, is not about do's, is about don'ts. A leader who intellectually subjugate the team has lost the play.
Yeah.
Once you have risen to the level of leadership, you're not supposed to be expert of everything unless you're Elon Musk or you're creating Mars and universe or extra universal systems.
Yeah.
Otherwise, leaders just aggregate experts below them. All right. So
Yeah.
you do not intellectually subjugate people. You do not hog credit. Okay. You do not hoard creamy assignments for yourself. So success is yours. You rather distribute them.
Yeah.
You diffuse them. So I follow this model, and I want to give you the lingo for the purpose of this conversation today. It's
Yeah.
called Next Phase Leadership. It's by Dr. Brett Savage. He continued a Harvard study and he further refined it, and now I am certified by him. And it has phase one of people. The managers are in induction period. They
Yeah.
have just joined. They are rookies. It could be VP or an intern.
Yeah.
We are not considering them. Phase two are the rocket solid specialists in any organization who get things done. We have crew over here. There is a camera guy. There is a video editor. These are the rocket solid specialists. They are meter wide and mile deep.
Yeah. Subject matter experts.
Experts. All right.
Yes,
So those are the rock bed of any organization. They give predictability. Then the phase threes are the managers and leaders who aggregate them and who multiply their efforts rather than addition.
Yeah.
And phase fours are the CEOs. They don't only lead the companies, but they lead outside. So my play of today is, if you want to be a good leader,
Yeah.
do not be a phase 2% specialist, but be in a phase 3 leader job. When I lead, I dilute my specialization. I become a mile wide and meter deep. However, for donkey's years, I was an expert.
Yes.
So the learning is deductive there. The attitude is, I need to know that I have to withhold my temptation to do that job which I did the whole life, but now somebody else is doing it.
Yeah. And allow them to do it.
Thank you for enable, allow them, because they might not deliver in the way that you were wanting it, but they might do it better or a different way.
Yeah.
So how do you resist that temptation of donkey's years?
How did you do that? How do you build that muscle? It's so tempting to say, I've done this for 20 years. So how do I inspire my team to deliver?
When you learn, first part of transition to phase 3 is having a socio-psycho awareness
Yeah.
that now I got to give up. I got to free that space of that specialization.
Yeah.
And tolerate and enjoy that expertise of somebody else who might deliver the same results in a little different way.
Yeah.
So that is humbling. So that's difficult. And once you have that awareness, then to put that awareness into practice till it becomes internalized and a muscle memory, like you said, is difficult. But the psychosocial understanding is important. Become the boss you always aspired in your boss.
In your boss.
Are you understanding?
Ouch.
When somebody micromanages you to do that, and you know how it was.
Yeah. Don't be that.
Don't be that.
Yeah.
All right. At the same time, please understand, I follow the rules like a professional, but I break it like a hustler. All right.
Say that again.
I follow the rules and I learn the rules like professional, but I break it like a hustler. Situational leadership is everything. If the critical task is so critical that there is no room for failure, and if I knew the task,
Yeah.
and it's a survival issue, I would do it myself at that time. I'll jettison all those rules. I'll go down if I'm confident. Because if I do that right, then we all survive.
Yeah.
So you can break it like a hustler if you require.
So it feels that leadership is it's like a weighing game. You really have to just monitor what is needed of me in this situation, like you said, situation leadership. And where is the place of feedback? You said when you came to Bidco, the feedback, 360 feedback was very humbling. How do I receive feedback as a leader to become better?
I think feed forward and feedback
Yeah.
are very essential part of the game.
Yeah.
Have you watched a football match ever with that part of the screen where score is hidden? We don't like it, right?
You don't like it.
We don't like it.
Yeah.
And in today's age, we want to the age of impatience for irresolution. The age of we want to
Quick
have data
fixes.
for everything.
Yeah.
So one need to know, and one need to keep an eye on the speedometer. One need on the radar cockpit. So seeking feedback is an attitude of champions Make it easy for others to give you a feedback.
Yeah.
And please understand, it could be disastrous to your mental health. Not everybody package their feedback the way it should have been.
Yeah, 'cause-
Okay, not everybody
Not
say.
everybody makes it
I call it,
palatable.
yeah, palatable. Thank you.
Yes.
And I call it kickback. The first set of feedback is kickback in real nature, because one fine day I didn't serve you a coffee properly, or one fine day I used a policy to say no because of my compulsion, and it did not agree to your need then, and
Yeah.
you hold that grudge inside. And the when you get an opportunity, first wave is kickback.
Yeah.
The discerning managers see through it. This is kickback. I'll take it, but I'll not take it to my heart.
Yeah. Don't take it personally.
Yeah, correct. And then I will distill good wisdom out of it and implement it.
Yeah.
So feedback is very important. At the same time, feed forward. A feedback without feed forward is half baked. A feedback should be sugar coated or should be augmented with an expectation.
Is that what you mean by feed forward? Okay.
Yeah.
So
And
don't
feed
just say,
forward-
this is my experience, this is what
Yeah,
I
correct.
expect of you,
Correct.
or what do you expect of me when someone gives you feedback?
Correct.
Okay. So how do we build these muscles as leaders? Do we need to go back to school? Is it something you learn on the job? How do you anchor yourself to be able to, one, receive feedback, lead, know when to take which approach, when to apply which strategy?
I think leadership emerges in inconvenient
Situation.
situations, crunch moments, and your ability to hold your value systems
Yeah.
at that moment of crunch and inconvenience is the say. Having said that, have I not blown up? Yes, I have blown up.
Yeah.
Have I not cracked down and cried? Yes, I have cracked down, cried. I am not a perfect leader.
Yeah.
But in my intent, do my ecosystem understand that I'm authentic and genuine about a purpose, which might give a bitter pill or not so happy encounter at that moment
Yeah.
for a larger good to prevail or to pursue? Yes, they all would say that.
Yeah.
Now, extreme long exposure to inconvenient moments may make you cranky. But by and large, if you hold your habits to a reasonable good level of engagement,
Yeah.
it's a good leadership. Am I a good leader? No, I'm a good leader in making. All right? I do
Okay.
crack down.
Yeah.
Do I have the heart and mindset and the concise and conviction to that? Yes, I do. Do others see that through? Yes. Now that takes time
Yeah.
for others to see that why you do what you do, and they forgive your mannerism but appreciate your motives. Now I have the luxury because I sit at top,
Yeah.
that they forgive my mannerism and appreciate my motive, but not all would have.
Yeah.
So the budding HR leaders must must have those behavioral dispensation always, to take the turbulence, have that thick skin, hold that urge to bounce back,
Yeah.
have that pause button, and then come out in a palatable way.
Okay.
Because designations and hierarchies are cruel to middle management.
Yes, and they get forgotten sometimes.
Yeah.
I hear you talk about resilience and bounce back. I hear you talk about authenticity and about failing sometimes and accepting that, this is part of leadership and getting back. So how do you translate strategy to your team so that it's not up there? Everybody understands this is what we are working towards. And I believe that will, allow them to also support you when you fall, because they know, okay, they're human, but this is the goal and this is what this leader is pushing us to achieve.
Strategy on shelf or strategy becomes soul. Isn't it that? So
Yeah.
I am a fan of and a practitioner and certified practitioner of blue ocean strategy. A blue ocean strategy, just for info, deals with non-disruptive creation. I don't have to destruct something to create.
Yeah.
Non-destructive creation, to create and not compete, to innovate and not imitate, to not play in the current market but define and find a new
New market.
uncontested market.
Yeah.
Now, in that blue ocean strategy, one of the foundational frameworks is called a strategy canvas. A strategy canvas is a landscape A4 size paper which, through graph and not more than 10 variables, would explain your play visually. And communication visually, like you say, 1,000 words make a picture, right? So communicate your strategy visually. So
Yeah.
everybody, any strategy which requires more than 17 slides has lost clarity.
It's a story. Write
Yeah,
a
it's lost
book.
clarity.
Yeah.
Mark Twain says, I did not have time to write a short letter, so I wrote a long letter.
Yeah.
So when you beat
I did
around
not have time to
write a short letter,
so I wrote a
so
long
I wrote,
one.
because for you to make it short,
Yeah.
you got to back end with a lot of cognition. Brevity is soul of wit.
You need more time to make
Yeah,
it short.
to write a short write. So people don't know things and they come out with 17, 18 slides of strategy.
Okay.
That's strategy for shelf. And my HR folks, please don't romanticize with long stuff. If you can't make a point in an attention span of 45 seconds in an elevator speech, you meet your CEO in an elevator, you got 45 seconds time zone, and if you can't communicate a strategy,
Yeah.
you're wasting your time. And we are caught in jargons and we're caught in over theorizing things.
Yeah.
Sorry. Contemporary HR needs to be concise,
Yeah.
clear. So
Supported by data.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You know, data is the soul of a story.
Yeah.
And I come back to strategy map canvas, visually displayed strategy, developed with the shared people, and then it goes to the souls of the organization, and that translates into behaviors and actions, which then fulfill the strategy. E is the holy grail.
Yeah.
Rest all is okay.
So make it concise, make it short, allow everybody to understand the picture. Use visuals, you're saying, bring data.
All of you Google strategic canvas
Yeah.
of Blue Ocean strategy and play it that way. But unfortunately, that's not HR's role. In the sense, it's the top management which needs to internalize, template that strategy on one page, isn't it? And not 17 plus slides.
Yeah.
And then HR becomes the first follower. I remember, I was coming back to your first question. Leadership is overrated. HR becomes the first follower of that leader who has conviction, who has clarity, who has vision,
Yeah.
who has purpose, and who wants to rock the boat. And he's the first follower and catalyst. So before being a leader, have guts to follow a mad guy who wants to change the world
Yeah.
for the right reason.
Yeah.
And is HR having that thing? Because, oh no, my policies, my past, my curbs on the road, and no, what my other HR, no.
What
don't
does
pay
our
too much
policy
yeah,
say?
Correct. So that is what I meant to answer your first question.
Yeah.
Leadership is overrated there.
All right. So we are in a world where we're experiencing constant change, a lot of uncertainty. You have talked about Africa very passionately and the youth of Africa. How do you lead in this space of change? Sometimes unfulfilled promises, and how do you navigate that?
You asked change, unfulfilled promises,
Yeah.
both requires a 20 minutes dwelling, and you said Africa.
Yeah.
Let me replace the word and banish the word change. It's disruption. The scale at which we are subjected to the transformation disruption is Bani, brittle, anxious, non-linear, incomprehensible.
Incomprehensible. Yeah.
Now, VUCA, Bani, these are all terminologies, but they have a great way of explaining that we're dealing with something.
Yeah.
And Africa may be immune for 2 quarters or 3 quarters. We may have a little slower impact of that, but we are definitely going to feel it.
Yeah.
So managing change, thriving on disruption, or being functional on disruptions requires a lot of cognitive horsepower to begin with.
Yeah.
You need to read the trends of the change. You need to see what are distractors and what are real drivers of change. The disruption drivers do not manifest them with a red alarm that I'm going to drive you crazy.
Yeah.
They come disguised
They're
in
hidden.
subtle. Thank you. They come in subtle things that we know. So, what are these lead indicators? And within those lead indicators, what are the noises and what are the real ones which will have a trigger effect
Yeah.
or a ripple effect. Now, not always your cognitive powers would give you or let you know that what Trump is going to do in Iran. It comes from nowhere, it hits you, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, we wouldn't know. So assume and keep your thick skin ready for a 30% of out of blue bullets that would hit you.
Yeah.
Allocate the time, resource, and resilience for that. Now, managing disruption and change itself is a survival game. I don't think we are equipped for it, and we will never be equipped for it. Then, what is the least damaging way? Damage would always be there.
Yeah.
The least damaging way is to accept, make zones of clarity in disruptive era.
Yeah.
A good leader would take the turbulence, a good corporate office would take the turbulence on themselves, and where the action is, they will give zones of clarity and zones of execution so that the things remain functional.
Yeah.
COVID, everybody took turbulence. The hotels and hospitals did work. The caregivers did function. So they gave zones of clarity. I may give you clarity for 31 seconds or 31 minutes, but then you perform that.
Yeah.
I'll take the turbulence. The role of leader is to then make meaning, make turbulence-free zones.
How do you do that? How do you create a turbulent free
It's
zone?
simple. You absorb it.
Yeah, as the leader.
Yes.
Okay.
You absorb it. I may have 1,000 bad news, but your job in that role right now is to deliver a beautiful ripple hosting. I may have 1,000 other things hitting me. I will give you that 2 hours of clarity. You do your job. I will take care of the rest.
Okay.
So there are 35 other people who would do those small things, and you do the brick level work at clarity, and the wall would build.
Okay.
All right. So making clarity zones. Okay.
I think you need a really skilled team to be able to do that.
Skilled is second, because what to do when you don't know what to do is the next era of learning agility.
Okay. So what's
We
the
are
first?
never skilled. You're never skilled for these new
For
things.
the new things?
Do you have the mindset?
Okay.
Do you have the attitude and proclivity to absorb things that you would never think would come? Can you shift gears? Are we together? Can you remove suits and wear a overall and overall and move around? Can we have mental preparedness?
Yeah.
So I think skills is overrated. The skills, the tenure and tendency of skills now is weeks. See, during my era,
changing.
50s, the tendency and currency of a course was for decades.
Yeah.
Now courses are broken down to micro skills. Micro skills are changing, but the idea is, do I have one skill
Yeah.
of learning and asking?
Wow. So it's a mindset. It's about the mindset. You said something about cognitive horsepower. Now, you're the leader. You're supposed to be absorbing all these disruptions and supporting your team perform. How do you build this horsepower?
I think we are in an age of where information has exploded,
Yeah.
but curiosity has imploded. Are leaders not really delegating learning to AI? I mean, are we doing any deep thing? Even Los Angeles, the Hollywood studios and the Netflix of the world are telling, dumb down the content, remove the details because it's second scrolling.
Yeah.
I'm worried about the world, the way we are absorbing new knowledge, the way we are cognitively preparing ourselves. So A is assimilation and comprehension of new knowledge.
As a leader, you need to build that.
And you should allocate a good amount of time to absorb new knowledge, insights,
Yeah.
and then synthesize. Where is the time for reflection? Because here I read, I move on, calendars are full.
Yeah.
So where is the time to synthesize what you absorbed and then make meaning and play, put it at play? So that is very essential in the leaders, as much as is to engage people. And when you engage people, please subordinate cognition. They don't go together. The alignment is a matter of science, but the attunement is a matter of heart. And when you attune and I relate to you, if I philosophize or I theorize too much, I'll shut you off.
Yeah.
I'll intimidate you.
Yeah.
So back end, like AI, keep your cognition and deep thinking in the back end. In front end, have a simple chat box, smile and engage with people. And
Yeah.
you need to move between zones
Yeah.
seamlessly.
So when you're building the muscle for you to lead, you go into your cognitive part. When you're inspiring your team, then you have to change the approach.
And in inspiration, you intellectualize doom. Oh, this guy is bullshit. He's too much. Intimidate. And you will build wall, not bridges.
Yeah. All right. And about Africa, you said if you tweak this, if you move this, then we'll move faster. What do we need to tweak?
I think Africa has everything that is so inspiring and so potential ready.
Yeah.
We have a human capital which has a right mindset. Okay? We have the energy. All right? What we do not have is opportunity.
Yeah.
I am conceptualizing, I was talking to young crew over here, I'm conceptualizing a framework which would generate employment for the campus to transition to corporate.
Yeah.
And on a scale unprecedented. I don't know I'll succeed or not. I need an ecosystem partner, but what is missing in Africa is the first three opportunities. Okay? And in a safe environment, even if it's as low as 1 month, and if we can create that for our African youth, that's one. For African HR, what we need to do is take them to the value chain. Ask them to look at supply chain. How MRM does its supply chain, who's Milan Vyas, how it does it. How MRM regional or Shuffle regional CEO in East manages these 4 or 5 operations. Let HR step out and understand the value chain, where value is created, where value is captured, and how value is allocated or distributed, and where it is destroyed. If that HR does, Africa would be rising and shining and go where it belongs.
Yeah. Now, what do you see in 2026 from a leadership perspective, from a HR perspective? What should we be focusing on?
I think we must embrace AI.
Yeah.
With willingness, be ready to learn. I think AI means Africa included.
AI means Africa included.
Yes.
Oh wow, we need to tweet that.
Yeah, and we need Africa to jump on AI
Yeah.
and have a late entrant benefit.
Yeah.
I think for 2026, there is no time for bureaucracy. AI would expose those who hide behind controls.
Yeah.
So there would be no room for people who are not adding value. So people must ask themselves whether their salary that they take home versus value they add, if it's less than 5x, they should be preparing themselves. Okay? HR must talk business, talk, walk, breathe, sleep, eat, business value add. Insubordinate human demands. I would keep human demands pampering, mollycoddling should be 49%, 51% focus should be making your organization survive. Because if my cabin in a ship is secured, but if my ship is sinking,
everybody's in trouble. Yeah.
So I need to be very focused on what really matters and what is trigger points.
Yeah.
2026 would see Africa making moves towards digitalization. I am speaking at various conferences, and guess what? Most of these conferences I led and invested on by the ministries. So I see an intent in the politics and government to understand and to be able to map this chaotic disruption that is coming.
Yeah.
I see youth getting disillusioned if they do not quit the entitlement.
Okay.
We're teaching them here ideal theories. What is required is this plus skills.
Yeah.
And no entitlement. This plus skills and no entitlement.
Yeah.
Deserve before you desire. Otherwise, disillusion will come and it will disrupt the society.
All right.
So not all is good. Only the paranoid survives, and I would rather be
Paranoid and survive.
paranoid and survive right now.
All right. As we conclude, you can give us your parting shot. You have talked about mindset, and I'd want us to close on that because even for the youth, when we're challenging them not to be entitled, it's a mindset thing. How do we, at a personal level, challenge our beliefs, our, perspectives on life? I think that's something that nobody can do for you.
I think reflection,
Yeah,
being humble to learn,
yeah,
having courage and chest to say I was wrong. Okay, having that level of consciousness to trigger an action when we know. The problem is knowing doing gap.
yeah,
The knowing is everywhere. Doing is a problem.
yeah.
So how do you reduce the knowing doing gap? Because we all are walking philosophers and walking encyclopedias with AI.
Dr. Google and
yeah,
AI.
everything is there. You know it
Yeah.
all, but what are you doing?
Yeah,
And how much of that knowing is going to doing? And secondly, doing on the third time till it internalize.
yeah.
The fizz of the all New Year resolutions by March, I have declared them death. Okay, so mindset, yes. I also have come out with a framework where basically the first part of the framework is purpose. It covers vision, mission, objectives. The second part of the frame, so purpose gives you direction
Yeah,
and gives you the why. Then comes out with strategy. It gives you, it directs you what not to do and what to do.
yeah,
Then comes alignment, horizontal and vertical alignment. The biggest gap, and I am releasing a program on expectation management in collaboration. The biggest gap with these, you know what is an organization? Organization means one, right? Oh, one. And guess what? What have we divided the organization to? Divisions. Division means divide. So you're dividing people and you're expecting them to be one.
work together.
Isn't it? So there are these border issues
Yeah, the silos.
where the silos do not collaborate and are suboptimal. So how do we have that horizontal collaboration which is seamless and we deliver? Otherwise, multiplication won't happen.
Yeah.
So alignment. Okay, alignment basically gives you systems. It's systems. Then comes attunement is heart.
Yeah.
All cognition now put back heart. How do
Connect.
I relate?
Yeah.
Otherwise, the biggest tax corporate pays is low trust and malicious compliance. I just don't like Irene. I'll not show up.
Yeah.
I will do your task just before the deadline, but not the first one because I don't like.
Yeah.
That malicious compliance has to go down.
Yeah.
So alignment, attunement, then comes performance. All this is bullshit if we do not perform. It gives legitimacy.
The doing.
And this is why you are legitimacy to it. And the last is culture.
Yeah.
Even predictable unwritten rules that dominate our behavior, and their values are on walls, but cultures are on corridors. Okay, values are there on walls, nobody reads it. Culture is demonstrated by what you reward and what you tolerate.
Yeah.
So I repeat again, you have this purpose, it takes care of vision, mission, objectives. You have after
Alignment.
purpose, no, you have strategy.
Strategy. Okay.
Yeah. Then comes alignment, then comes attunement, then comes performance, and then comes culture.
Culture.
But they are not necessarily linear. But if you follow this model, and chances are that you do a bad job. But if you don't follow, you'll do a worse job.
A worse job. All right. That's a perfect way to end it. Thank you so much, Bhavesh, for making time to speak to us, sharing your insights. I'm glad that you're very passionate about self-leadership before you lead others, building the muscle. You called it cognitive horsepower, but also relating with people and being open to share your truths and be humble. So thank you. That has been episode 1 of season 2 of Ripple by IHRM. We have had Bhavesh Chandaria speaking to us. You can follow us on our social media platforms at IHRM Kenya. I have been your host, Irene Kimashia.